Hello, everyone. Happy Memorial Day. I think I'm going to switch my view to this one, though. Hello, everyone. Happy Memorial Day. I hope everyone is being safe. I hope you are all social distancing. But mainly, I hope you're having fun, maybe doing a little relaxing. Hope this is a day of for some people as we continue on to the summer. And hey, the warm weather is here. But don't act too crazy. We saw some things though that were posted on Facebook. I've never been to the Ozarks in Missouri, but they had some fun out that way. Not 6 feet apart, because it was just way too many people at that little hotel, pool, lounge, whatever that was. But anyway, thank you for joining me if you are watching. Peace, love, and many blessings. I switched my view over, so I'm not on my Facebook view, but I always look back. My phone is charging right now. Usually I look on my phone to make comments or anything to people. So, but I'll get to those comments later. Anyway, in honor of Memorial Day, however you put yourself together, because the beauty shops are closed, hair salon, beauty salon, nail salons, you did them yourself. Hey, first timer here, at least with acrylic. I have my Poppin' Blue lips on today in honor of Memorial Day. I have definitely been reflecting and thinking about those who paid the price for us today, not just in recent wars, but past wars, so that we can at least have and appreciate the freedoms that we have here today. And one of the things I was doing, I'm doing step challenges and weight loss challenges, and I've been meaning to listen to Michelle Obama's Becoming book during, my workouts. So I didn't do it during my workouts. I did it during something else. But I was listening to that, and it got me thinking about what she was saying. But even before then, it took me back to something that had recently happened. And it was a comment, and I just asked a question. But getting beyond that, thinking of where that question came from and why, just from listening to her and thinking of Becoming the tour that aired on Netflix, I know why. I know the answer. I know why that comment was made. They probably didn't want to say, but I know. And it's, just when you listen to her past, her background, and all of her achievements, and just how she grew up. But it's where she grew up. You hear South Side of Chicago. And people think about the South Side of Chicago that we hear about all the time. Probably not like those suburban areas a lot. You never hear about good things on the news all the time. You hear about the bad things all the time. So they're probably trying to think in their heads, what are they going to read? Even though people have tried to find dirt on Michelle, just tried to find something to prove that they're right, just something to prove that she's not what she portrays. That it's hard to believe that a young woman grew up on the South Side of Chicago, being raised by working class suburban family. And when you listen to how she grew up with piano lessons, and her parents just wanted her to have all the advantages that they never had. They offered that, and they provided that. They actually did that, and it made me think of Bill Cosby show, and I said, wow. People don't actually hear or see when they hear about these stories. They hear about someone kind of growing up with a Huxtable style type of family, not so rich, but just you didn't grow up with violence on the South Side of Chicago. You didn't grow up with you didn't go through like a drug phase on the South Side of Chicago. Your brother didn't join a gang on the South Side of Chicago. No, they were scholars. They were achievers. And that's what's hard for people to believe, and they don't want to probably admit what else is hard to believe. It's hard because they're Black. Now, if that had probably been the story of a white family or a white woman coming from the South Side of Chicago, probably wouldn't bat an eye or think twice about what they're going to see on a documentary or read in a book that they write. Because everything that I've seen and experienced and have heard, she was just born and bred to be the first lady. Very not old school money, but just with style and with grace. To me, she's very reminiscent of Jackie O, but she is Michelle Obama, and she is very much herself in her own personality. And I never once looked at her, even when she was speaking, she always just seemed to be eloquent and nice and lovely and was, pretty much just being a champion for America and America's children, wanting them to eat healthy. Besides that, yeah. So it baffles me because that's just when you hear and listen to it. Like I said, from what I've listened to, because I have the Audible book, Becoming. So far, what I've listened to, it just has reaffirmed what I've always thought. She was just born and bred to be the first lady. She was just born and bred for success. Not only in her parents, like she said, it was her that was driven. Like she was driven in kindergarten. Like, she was like, she missed a word and demanded a redo. And the teacher was like, no, we already did that. We have other things to do. And she demanded, she goes, no, I want to do those words again. I know those colors. I missed one. I had it the minute. And she's just been a driven person since. And I think that's what's hard. And she asked this question at this one part in the book, is when people were, I'm not sure, I have to look at it, how it was phrased again, but I'll get to that part. We'll wait. So, either way, because I'm doing the Brown Sugar Amplified poetry series, and, as I'm recounting things that I grew up with, growing up in the suburbs, even though some people think I grew up someplace else. That's how you find out the real ones from the fake ones. But yeah, as I'm doing Brown Sugar Amplified, going through things, and even as I was watching the documentary of the tour, and I'm thinking of the poems that I'm writing that's coming out of the Brown Sugar Amplified series and what inspired some of them. And I tend to be more outspoken, and my archetype, if it's correct, it seems very correct to me as the outlaw. I never kind of wanted to do what others were doing. I was always perceived as different, not the same, and I never really minded that. I think if everyone was doing what everyone else was doing, we would have a boring world. Yeah, but it reminds me of, she said she was going through these things in the 60s, the late 60s. And I was like, wow, I remember going through that during the mid to late 80s when we moved to where we moved to. And also listening to a story that my friend had, also from where she lived and what her family went through. And I just said, that's like what, almost, or basically 20-year difference, 20 years different, because she's 60, I'm my age. I'll get to that point. We're not that point yet, but I'll get to that point. And I said, why, and what's holding back that change? What's keeping us from the progress that we really need? And I think one is listening, being compassionate. Your needs on your side of town isn't too different from the needs of others on another side of town. Thinking of yourself as one instead of, well, we're a community of this over here and we're a community of this over here. So just being one and being a community. I want to show my little statement piece. It's not real, y'all, but so I still want to show my statement piece. I'm playing with y'all. Since we can't go nowhere, you might as well, turn on the live and have some fun. Yeah. And it's just, it kind of baffles me. And then even fast forwarding today in my daughter's class, wow. And why I was able to recognize something and not participate. And I said, why does this seem familiar to me? Oh, why? Because I lived it already before. Why? Are we not having the right conversations with our children? And it's funny because usually for others not to appear a certain way, they'll try to point the finger at someone else to get them to appear a certain way, not knowing that they got a biracial family. And it's just hard. It's like, why is that such a hard story to believe? What are you looking for? Why is that a hard story to believe, that this young lady grew up just with the life that she says that she's grown up with and nothing more? And it's funny because I wonder if anyone would believe a story about a young woman growing up in the suburbs who graduated high school. And before she graduated high school, she had 2 cars, was already working on her career, had went to modeling school, participated in the Miss America pageant, not the Miss America pageant, the Miss Michigan pageant. I wonder if they would believe that story. That she was a success and was reading at a college level, I think by 2nd grade, 3rd. We found out during, I think, the 3rd grade spelling bees. But I was always, I wonder what they would believe that story, Yeah. So, or would they not believe that story? Would they just believe that person is angry and not speaking from experience? And isn't knowledgeable, having 2 degrees. Because they decide to put themselves kind of last and raise their kids, that there's something else afoot or wrong. But we don't question the white women who have no degrees. We don't question other certain people when they speak out and they're not speaking from anything further that we know of. There tends to be only one difference. I hate to say that, it does. It tends to only be one difference. We're more apt to believe one person because of maybe their skin tone versus someone else of their skin tone. So, well, again, how do we grow? How do we get beyond those things? And it's funny because what I've realized and what I've seen is that people think Block mentality is only in the inner cities and ghettos and places that are, very low and impoverished. But no, Block mentality exists everywhere. Block mentality exists everywhere. And it's funny because I remember growing up and, maybe it was a little sheltered, but just remember growing up and, didn't really think much about places and, where people lived next. I didn't care. I was friends with you because I liked you. That was it. I didn't care. I didn't think I was better than anybody. I just did me. I was driven, had my goals, and I did me. And I remember people saying certain things, and I was just like, it kind of just rolled off my back. I didn't understand them. And then to find out that it's basically still like that. And I had to realize what it was. I was like, oh, it's Block mentality. You're all right because you're over here in these blocks. You're all right because you're over here in these blocks. And I wonder if anyone, if they realize it or if it's pointed out to them that they have Block mentality, what would they do about it? What would they do about having that? Or would they even believe that they do? Yeah. So I'm it's funny just this book coming out and listening to it and reading it at this time of my own self-reflection based on things that I grew up with and coming up with the Brown Sugar Amplified Poetry series. I didn't choose a poem for you guys today. So I'm coming on very quickly because like I said, this is a very busy weekend. I just kind of want to come on and comment on those things, and maybe I'll find a guest who can come on and speak with me more on this. I have to think hard on who that guest would be. Yeah. But anyway, I'm going to end this with a poem, and I didn't look it up prior. Oh, this was perfect. This is perfect. Perfect. I wish I would have read through it first, but anyway, we're going to end with this. So anyway, read Becoming. I'm enjoying the book. It's awesome. How can you just, it's Michelle Obama. Okay. And then as I read further, we'll talk more about this. And like I said, hopefully I'll find a guest who I can speak on this with as well. So this poem is called Wake Up and Breathe. And again, it is from an oldie but goodie. An oldie but goodie. Ooh, I'm scared it's going to get lost in the virtual background, y'all. It's from an oldie but goodie. So the whip is still cracking, screams and cries for freedom. Do you hear it? Do you feel it? The whip is still cracking, choking, oppressing, torturing your fellow man. You scream no more, but are you ready to fight? The whip is still cracking, burning, slashing at the backs of sisters and brothers, all of them. Your ghettos don't look so bad, my Eritrean sister yelled. You have welfare. Your ghettos don't look so bad, you have welfare? She recounts walking to school, bombs dropping all around. They do not know. They are on the outside looking in. Bullets fly in our ghettos too. The whip is still cracking. Screams, screams, cries, crying, fighting, dying for freedom. Wanting to reach out, trying to find a solution, unable to find one, we pray. We pray for the souls of others, not just our own. We pray for senseless violence to end. We pray for freedom. We pray for free dome. The whip is still cracking. There is a chance you will make it home. Locked inside, not worrying about mud floors, not worrying about nightly raids, constant fear of rape, degradation, humiliation, your manhood safe in your own hands, no fear of public emasculation. The whip is still cracking, distorted images. The whip is still cracking, the whip is still cracking, the whip is your mind. Open your hearts, your eyes, change your thinking. Think beyond yourself. Start breaking cycles of stereotypical thinking. Stop the cracking of the whip, your mind. Again, happy Memorial Day. Peace, love, and many blessings.